This is INCRadio DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Welcome to How You Doin, a health and wellness podcast from INCRadio New York Satellite Studio. Whether you're on the go or taking a minute to breathe, we've got real tips, good conversations, and weekly check-ins to help you live well without losing your city pace. Are you ready? Let's get to it.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in to How You Doin. This is brought to you by INCRadio New York Satellite Studio. And, we're a program that we talk about health and wellness in real, practical ways that fit into our everyday life. So again, thank you for joining with us again for another topic. So with me, we have Sister Mika. Sister Mika, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Good morning, Sister Abby. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone who's tuning in with us today. I hope that you are all, or at least if you're in the District of New York, that you are all bundled up today, especially if you're going out. I hope you don't go out.
Yes.
I hope that you're watching How You Doing at home.
Yes, it's
cold.
really cold. It's also, I hear the wind. We also got some snow last night, so there's some snow blowing around. But yeah, I hope that you don't have to venture out today.
Right. And if you do, just make sure that you are bundled up, that your head is covered, because, we don't want anyone getting sick. Okay.
Yes. So for today's topic, we're talking about stretching. We had last week we talked about our eyes, and we had our lovely sister Jama with us. And I know there was a lot of questions that we were unable to answer, but stay tuned. We'll hopefully have time on the next episode to also answer those questions. But stretching is important, right? So but we'll talk about that later. But let's go to our next segment.
Yes, that's right. If we can show the bumper for Where You At. There you go. All right. So it's time for us, as always, to represent where we're from or where we are at. So to represent our local congregation or extension. And so for that, we are going to provide you with a question of the day. Of course, you are free to join in on any questions that we put out today. We love, love, love to hear from you. So today, the question is, how often do you stretch in a day? All right. Is it once a day, twice a day, or 0 times a day? Because I know I have not stretched yet.
Same.
I'm just looking back on when I woke up. I just jumped out of bed. Actually, I scrolled through social media for a little bit, jumped out of bed because it was almost time, and then got ready for INCRadio.
Yeah.
I think as I was talking to you, Sister Abby, I did one stretch just on one side. So I don't even know if that counts.
I know. I'm terrible at doing my daily stretches, to be honest. Like sometimes it's just when I feel sore, like if I'm sitting too long at work, then I was like, oh, I should stretch. But that's one of the things that I need to be more consistent. So those in the chat, let us know how often you stretch. It seems like we have, Sister Kayla says morning before bed after sitting in the chair for hours. So she stretches a lot. I think there's also...
I wish I was like that. as soon as I get into bed, I kind of just knock out.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to, I feel like it relaxes you because your muscles are so tense from the day, right? So if you like stretch it, you relax your muscles so you feel more relaxed before you go to bed. I think I also saw once a day.
Yes,
What
from
else?
Brother Jet. Sister Vera says not enough. Same.
Chad said, I stretch in the morning. Okay. And then, yeah. So keep those
Sister
things.
Angel. Sister Angel says, this is what I mentioned it to Sister Abby earlier, probably on Sundays and Thursdays at the start of choir rehearsal.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll read more, or we'll read some more later. But right now, let's get into our main topic, which is, yes, about stretching. Now, for most of us, if you're kind of like us, our daily routine kind of goes like this, right? So you wake up, you get ready for work or for school. If you have to go to church, you go to church, you go home, and then you sleep, right? So, where in that routine did any of us stretch, right? So our bodies are made up of muscles that help us move, bend, and function every single day. And just like anything we use regularly, right, they need care and preparation. So what happens to our bodies, right, when we don't stretch at all, right? And on the flip side, what happens or what changes when we regularly stretch? So that's what we're going to talk about today on How You Doing. We're going to talk about why stretching matters, what it does for our bodies, and simple tips to help us start no matter what age you're at. All right, Sister Abby, how do we start? What are we starting with?
I guess if Clea Tech can put our PowerPoint on, right? So we can, I guess, start with why is it important? Why is stretching important to our bodies? Like what Sister Mika said, that our bodies are made up of muscles that help us move. You have muscles that attach to our bones, that helps us, like, move our arm. You use muscles to like ride a bike, do some exercise, walk, and whatnot. So when you work with something or you work with your muscles, they get tired, they get sore. So why? So we can, also understand the benefits of stretching. Okay, so if we can go to the first slide, or yeah, we'll of our PowerPoint, we'll talk about the benefits of stretching. So it prepares our muscles and joints for movement. So it could be if you're going exercising, or even just like walking, or you move, right, Sister Mika? Like you get up out of bed, your muscles are like maybe
You
not
require,
warmed up.
yeah, you require muscles to be able to get out of bed.
Yeah. So it prepares your muscles and joints for any type of movement. It's not necessarily for exercise. Sometimes we think about stretching before we go for a jog or do any physical activity, but it's for any type of movement. It also improves flexibility and our posture. Again, with our posture, right? With our backs, we have muscles to support our back or support our posture. So if your muscles aren't properly warmed up or not prepared, it might affect how we our posture and whatnot. So that's a couple of benefits of stretching. It also reduces stiffness and tension. Like anything, you can feel some tension in your shoulders. I know, like when I'm stressed, I
Kind of clenched up, right? Yeah.
yeah, you have a lot of stress on your neck and your shoulders, and sometimes that can also cause headaches as well, like tension headaches. So when you stretch those muscles, it kind of relaxes things. It releases that pressure that you have on your neck and your back and the rest of your body.
Yeah, like if you're on the computer all day and you're like this on your computer all day, or if you're on your phone, right? That, puts a lot of stress on your neck muscles as well and your upper back. So you do have to stretch it. Yeah. And what else? So what does stretching do to our body, Sister Abby?
Um, so, it lengthens our muscles gently. So you don't have to, you shouldn't force, when you're stretching, it shouldn't hurt. It's not like no pain, no gain, that thing. So you gently lengthen the muscles and you improve your range of motion. So then it reduces muscle tightness, as what we discussed, and muscle tension. Because if you notice, sometimes when you're stiff, you can't like say if you want to touch your toes, you can't touch your toes as much if your muscles are tense or tight. But after gently try to touch your toes or stretch your muscles, you are able to go farther in your stretches. It also improves the range of motion. It also increases blood flow and circulation. And as we also been mentioning, it also helps your body relax. It also supports balance and coordination. And it helps your body recover from daily stress and movement. So it's all these nice benefits of stretching. So we should, I guess, implement it more in our daily lives and not just once or twice a week. Right, Sister Mika?
Yes, that's right. And like we were talking earlier about just getting out of bed, right? Just the mere motion of getting out of bed. You have to use your muscles. But like even just getting out of your seat or like sitting down, there are, especially when you're, on the wiser side of life. Sometimes it's more difficult to do stuff like that. So that's why stretching really, really does help. So what happens if you're like me and I don't stretch? What happens to our bodies when we don't stretch or we forget?
I think you can feel it, right? Your muscles become, not as flexible. They feel tight. And like you notice that you can't do things as easily, right? Your muscles become tight, they become shortened. Your movement is a little bit more restricted. You feel like just stiff. If you don't stretch, you're not as flexible as you thought you were when you're, in your younger days, right? As you get older, your muscles become more tight, more tired. Then your posture may suffer. Like I think we had this conversation about like our necks, since we're like always sometimes hunched over. And if we don't stretch it or move our other muscles in our body, it can also affect our posture as well. So you have like sometimes they call it like the hump on the back of your
Yeah,
back.
next time.
So
Text neck.
that neck. So you should try to, if you notice that you're hunched over or you're looking at your phone a lot, try to be more conscious about it and then stretch your body, fix your posture, put your shoulders back. It may feel tiring because you're not using those muscles normally, but eventually as you practice or use those muscles, it becomes more easier or less difficult.
Yeah. So that's what the next slide is, right? Those are the things that changes when we stretch regularly. So what are some tips that you can give us based on our research? Like what are some tips that we can do if we want to start? Because you also don't want to overdo it. Let's say you haven't stretched for like months or even years, and then you don't want to overdo it as well. So what are some of the things that we can do?
It's more, yeah, you just start small, stretch gently. Never force it, like we mentioned before. Don't do it to the point of that it hurts you. So, start like if you want to do your arms or your whatever, you gently push it back, you feel the stretch, and then relax. You breathe slowly, don't hold your breath, because that causes stress or causes tension. So make sure that you're breathing, that you know that you're breathing and not holding your breath. Sometimes what my coaches, when I used to do sports, say, actually count, like say the words 1, 2, 3, because that actually forces you to breathe. You think you're like, oh, I'm just talking, but it forces you to breathe instead of just holding and clenching your breath. And don't do it quickly. It's slow and gentle. Make sure that you stretch for at least 15 to 30 seconds. And then focus on tight areas. You feel like your legs are sore or you've been sitting for too long. So try to touch your toes or grab your leg and try to stretch out your quads or your hamstrings and whatnot, or your neck and your shoulders. I think Sister Meek and I also were discussing earlier, our exercises that we do in choir are good also, guideline or basic things like, our neck roll, our head rotation, arms, and our backs, So those are like, it's kind of like a whole body stretching routine.
Yes, and actually the if you're a choir member, if you know, you know, those are actually very good stretches that you can do in the morning. So a lot of people think that stretches have to take too long, or like, when do I have the time to stretch? You can stretch as soon as you get out of bed, right? Again, if you're in the choir, a lot of the stretches that we do, so like the neck rolls. I'm still confused that this is neck rotation, right?
Yeah.
And then the neck roll is okay.
Yeah. But I can feel the stretch right here, but I think that's because I forgot what muscle, trapezius, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I forgot my anatomy of my neck. But yeah, like I feel like this part is like a lot of stress or a lot of tension because you're hunched over where I'm usually hunched over. So I feel that stretch in my neck.
Yes. So let's say, like, what are some of the stretches that we can do after? Yes, Sister Vera, the neck ones feel so good. Right? Especially if you're on the computer all day, if you're like hunched down writing or on your phone. So, and then I always have that sorry, I got distracted with the comment section. So like, you stretch your arms, right? Those are some quick ones. Oh, did you hear my bones crack?
No.
So is that okay if you hear a crack?
I think it's okay. Don't quote me, but I think like your joints, it's like your joints have I remember someone, because I asked about cracking your knuckles and they said it's just like air pockets in your joints and the fluid that is being released. So it's not anything bad, but I don't work in orthopedics, so I don't know, but it's just air pockets being released when you hear cracks, as far as I know. As long as you don't do high intensity stuff and it doesn't hurt afterwards. But yeah.
That's right. So what if, right? So for all of our viewers right now, have you stretched already? Have you stretched already? Today it is 11:49 in the morning. If you have not stretched yet, so let's see if we can do some small stretches today. We only have to take like 2 minutes. Sister Abby, do you want to lead us? We can do those neck rotations, the neck rolls, the shoulder, the arm stuff. Can you lead us in that?
Okay.
So that we
So you can start with our head, right? So our head rotation. So we look to our left or our right, sorry. Our right and center, our left. Nice and slow because you don't want to go too fast. Then we look up and then center, and then we look down, and then we look straight ahead. Then we can do our head roll. So we go clockwise, nice and slow. Don't rush, and then we can reverse. Okay. Then our we can now do our arms. I guess we call it arm twist. So you take your right hand, go across, and then stretch, and then switch. And then we can do it again, switch, nice and slow. If it hurts, you don't have to force it. And then switch. Okay. And then we take our right hand, turn around, touch our back, take our elbow, and then you can feel the stretch down your arm and your side, right? And then we switch. See, and you can even do this in your seat. You don't have to stand, right? It's all upper body. And then we can do our shoulder rolls that, loosens up our shoulders. So we can go forward and then back. Okay. And then like in between, some people like shake it off to relax our arms. And I know you can stand for this, but we can do, this is also helps with like elderly, or if you have limited mobility, overhead side stretches. So we can interlock our hands, right? Stretch up, and we go to our right, and then center, left, and then center. Then we can like tip back, and then center. And if you're standing, you can gently go down and touch your toes if you can. So that is now your upper body. And you can do that in your seat. And then don't you feel more relaxed and you feel like the blood flow in your upper body? I hope you do.
Yes, and how long did that take? It is currently 11:52. So it only took us like 3 minutes? So it's very quick. It doesn't have to be like this is for like an everyday thing. Of course, if you're going to be doing any physical activity like working out or doing sports, you're gonna need to do a more rigorous kind of stretching than that. You'll probably need to do dynamic stretching where you have to like move more often, right? Instead of kind of like holding a position. So again, what was I saying? Yes. So let's make sure that we, do our stretches every day. It can be in the morning, during the day, especially if you're seated all day. To help us out. So let's read some of the comments. We have Delisai Fernando, stretching loosens my aching body. Good morning, Paul from Belmore, New York. Ate Gemma says, love stretching as much as I can, even while sitting down during computer work. And Sister Christy Vanal says, stretching required at work every hour. Yes.
Oh.
And then what else do we have? Kui Warren says, when I do get a chance to play sports, and as someone who has gone through sports injury, I definitely stretch before and after playing. T Mart's, I don't know who this is. I'm stretching every morning when I put my dog outside. Yes, thank you so much. I want to kind of focus on Q Warren's comment. So when you do any physical activity or rigorous physical activity like playing sports or working out, it's so important to stretch before and after. Okay. Now you might think that you're strong, but even the strongest people have had, injuries because they didn't stretch or they didn't warm up properly. So it really is very important to do your stretches or to warm up before anything like that. Okay. Sister Abby, what are some excuses or like barriers that some people might give as to why they don't stretch?
I think the most common, right, is with any physical activity, it's like, I don't have time, right? Like I'm so busy, I'm rushing in the morning, or I'm busy at work, busy at school, so I don't have time to stretch. But you can again do it at your desk, or during on your lunch break or in between classes. And like we did a couple of stretches for like less than 5 minutes. You don't have to take half an hour of stretching. Sometimes I've heard people like before they get out of bed, they do even if they're lying in bed, they do some stretches. They twist their back, they lift their arms up, and they stretch while they're still in bed, so they don't have to physically get up. So you find ways to incorporate it in your life, so it doesn't have to be like 10, 15, 30 minutes dedicated to stretching. You can little bit by little bit throughout the day.
That's right. And how, one of the comments that I saw from Sister Marisol says, do not stretch after eating. Right. So, I think as with any physical activity, shortly after we eat is not really good, right? Because you're digesting your food. So even like light activity, I think it's better to just wait, maybe like even half an hour after you eat. Or if you really want to stretch, do it right before you eat. Right? Because you don't want to kind of like disrupt the digestive process, because everything, like the blood flows like towards your stomach because it's digesting. So there you go. Right. So what else do we have? Oh, shout out to our brethren doing 5-on-5 right now. I hope that you stretched today before
And stretch
the
after.
5-on-5. And stretch after. Okay. Oh yeah, some excuse for not stretching sometimes is because someone can have health issues. So what solution can we give for those for the people that use that excuse?
I mean, you should always talk with, your medical provider, and there's physical therapists that can give you exercises and stretches that can be modified for you. Whatever your injury is or physical issues that you have, there's professionals out there that can assist you in finding different types of stretches that can be accommodating for you. Because I know I can't touch my toes, or I don't have that flexibility. I think there's you can use a towel to kind of help you in those to do those types of stretches. But with any physical activity, we always like to remind you to always talk with a professional, your medical provider, to get some advice before you start doing things, so that you won't hurt yourself or cause more damage than you realize if you just do it without knowing. So we want to also keep you guys safe as well.
Yes, that is so true. So as closing, right, because we are at that time, what would you like to say to everyone, as a takeaway?
It doesn't, I feel like you don't have to, do these big things like we've been mentioning throughout our show, that even small movements, small things, small stretches make a big difference. So just do it little bit by little bit. Like tomorrow morning, 5 minutes before I take a shower, make my coffee or whatever, I'm going to do X amount of stretches. And slowly you'll work up that habit. Or it's like before I go to lunch, I will do some stretches. Or before I go to bed, and then eventually it becomes a habit, and then I think you'll feel the difference of your mobility, your flexibility, and whatnot. But I think we have a challenge for everyone, right, Sister Mika, this coming week?
That is correct. So for all of us, right? So if you can take 5 minutes of stretching, do it every day this week. And then let us know in the comments section how you feel, right? So after one whole week, just take 5 minutes out of your day to do some stretching, whether it's the ones that we did today, or, if you look up on social media, some light stretches that you do, whether it's right after you get out of bed, right before you go to you shower while waiting for the hot water. So sometimes, depending on your pipes or whatnot, it takes a couple of minutes before it gets hot. So, you can also do that maybe after work, during right before you go on lunch break. Just 5 minutes each day for stretching, and then let us know in the comments how you feel. All right. And speaking of stretching, we brought up earlier that there is a 5-on-5 basketball happening today, and that is in Rockland, New York. Right? Sorry, I just went straight to what we do, and because we are going on overtime. So we hope that our brothers who are playing at the moment, you did stretch, and we hope that you also stretch afterwards. We hope that everyone has an amazing time there. If you are interested in either participating or watching the 5-on-5s, please connect with your local Christian family organizations officers so that they can give you the schedules of when it's going to happen every week. And of course, is that next Sunday is going to be our musical evangelical mission. That's February 15th at 6 p.m. and it's going to be in Plainview, Connecticut. Again, if you would like to register or save your seat, connect with your Christian Family Organizations officers so that they can give you that link to register. All right. Now, before we really end, do we have any other greetings that we can read?
We have. I miss having their names written. Now it's their usernames.
I know.
Yeah,
Well,
we have.
that's why we ask everyone to please also write your names and your local congregations with your comments so that, you know, if your username is just a bunch of letters and numbers, we can properly, you know, appreciate you and
Yeah.
acknowledge you.
Yep. I know we have Sister Lonnie in the chat. Sister Amelia, have a pleasant weekend, Po. Cheers to our basketball players, 5-on-5. We have Sister Jem Steerba, great topic today. Thank you, INCRadio New York. We have brethren from Sister Edwina Gerzon, Chile. Good morning, Po, from Rockland. Brother Mike Bernal says greetings to all, Po. Stay warm. And from Belmore. And I think we have Sister Susan from Wyndham, District of New York. She's encouraging all of us, those who are in the area or in our district, for the musical EVM on February 15th. So again, we appreciate all of you tuning in to our show today. I guess that's all for today's show. Thank you again for tuning in, and to the church administration for giving us a platform like this to share and speak about important and interesting topics like these. Greetings to our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, and our current Executive Minister, Brother Angelo Rania Manalo, and greetings to our station manager. Sorry, I read some manager, Brother Wally Tarai, and our executive producer, Kuya Manley and Daya.
Sorry, that was me. I sent to Jeremy a message that made her laugh. Anyway, we would also like to greet our District Minister, Brother Sheridan Santos, Assistant District Minister, Brother Neil Patrick Amelda, our CFO Advisor, Brother Jason Flores. Now remember, again, stretching doesn't have to be anything complicated or time-consuming. Even a minute can help your body reset and release tension. As I'm doing that, I'm trying to better my posture. Thank you for taking this moment for your help with us today. Join us next week, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 12:30 a.m. Philippine Time, and we are going to talk about immunity. It's perfect because the weather keeps changing. So take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time here on How You Doin'. Bye, everyone. Stay warm.
Stay warm. Bundle up.